Thanks very much to diggers and dealers for providing Fenix the opportunity to talk today. As a middle-aged white man called John, it's fantastic to champion diversity as being the only iron ore presenter here at the conference. And what a great iron ore mine I'm presenting in Fenix. You can see on the screen the Iron Ridge mine in the historic Midwest of Western Australia, where we're unlocking value. And there's a lot going on in this picture. For those delegates who are diligent enough and lucky enough to hear Kim Beazley in his keynote presentation this morning, you would have heard him describe Western Australia as the world's greatest mining province. And to justify that, one of the things that Kim spoke about, in also acknowledging the traditional owners where we meet here today, and I do that as well, and the traditional owners of the land where Fenix operates, Kim described that Western Australia is host of the oldest known mine in the world, human extraction of minerals, which is Wilgie Mia, where the Wadjuri people were extracting ochre approximately 30,000 years ago. And so thanks, Kim, because it's a great introduction to Fenix. Iron Ridge, our current production ore body, is wedged in between Wilgie Mia and Little Wilgie. We mine in an incredibly sensitive area. Ochre from Wilgie Mia has been found in North Queensland and Tasmania. It is anthropological evidence of trade amongst the First Nations people, and it's obviously very, very important and a key part of history in the World Range. And we're very proud to be partners with the Wadjuri people in terms of our agreements and the trust and respect with which we operate our mines. And it's a key part of Fenix's operations across our business. We're a partnership business. We build trust and respect, most notably with the Wadjuri people, with the pastoralists where we work, within our Newhaul business, and the original joint venture with Craig Mitchell is a great example of trust and partnership leading to unlocking value. Mount Gibson, who are our largest shareholder after the deal we've done in the Midwest with their assets. Sinosteel, an off-taker, a conception partner, the Midwest Port Authority, Main Roads, WA, and obviously our staff, contractors, and particularly our shareholders. We're proud of the partnerships that we're building. We look like a mining company, you can see there. Obviously our mine in the background, our crushing and screening plant, and a nice 60-metre Newhaul quad road chain in the foreground. But in fact, there are three pillars to our business. We are a mining business. You've just seen a picture of it. We also have a haulage and logistics business, and we have a port business. And they're three fundamental parts that make up an integrated value chain. We're mining at Iron Ridge, we're about to start mining at Shine, and we're building a new mine at W11, and they're the first three of what are going to be a number of transformative mining operations across the Midwest. What makes those mines interesting is that we own and operate our own logistics business. It's currently a fleet of state-of-the-art quad road train haul trucks, but we also have very important rail access infrastructure, and we then have a separate port business, Newhaul Port Services, which has unparalleled inloading, storage and outloading access at the soon-to-be radically expanded bulk mineral port of Geraldton. Let me show you a bit about the Midwest and the history that we're now building. You can see Iron Ridge there, north of Kew, west of Meekatharra. That's where Fenix started, resource development company, had a small 7 million tonne, very high-grade ore body, 65% iron ore. Originally traces its history back through the Atlas portfolio, who are also an offtake partner of Iron Ridge. Over the last couple of years, the successful development of that mine, and if you go back, not many miners ask you to look back 3 or 4 years in their feasibility study and compare it to the delivery of their project. But I encourage anyone to look back at Fenix's published feasibility study. We said we were going to spend $15 million building Iron Ridge. We said that the C1 cash cost was going to be around $85 a tonne. We delivered the mine on time and on budget for that $15 million, and we're currently delivering a C1 cash cost 4 years later at less than $80 Australian FOB Geraldton. That $15 million investment has made more than $200 million for our shareholders. We've paid $65 million in dividends. We've got $80 million in cash, and we're ready to grow. The map has expanded from Iron Ridge, the Beebyn W11 deposit nearby. We have a right to mine that with Sinosteel. We're about to start mining at Shine, an asset we acquired off Mount Gibson, along with their rail sidings at Peringeri and Riverdini near Mullewa. We have a state-of-the-art haulage logistics depot in Nungaloo near Geraldton, and we own and control significant infrastructure in the port of Geraldton, and we have a number of third-party customers for our logistics train. And it's an exciting time at Fenix. I go to a lot of meetings and people ask me about the iron ore price, and I've always said that the last person to ask about a commodity is a miner of that commodity. One of the other things that Kim Beazley spoke about today, is echoing Mark Twain, was to say that miners speak a lot of bullshit. Or as Mark Twain said it, you know, a miner is a liar standing next to a hole in the ground. So I've avoided talking up my commodity until today. This is a 30-year price line of the iron ore price, and so Diggers and Dealers at its inception is about diggers trying to convince dealers that they're on a winner. And if you've tuned into iron ore at all, you'll know that everyone is very bearish on the iron ore price, and they think that tough times are coming. And certainly at Fenix, we have a burning platform, and you'll see that we have been reducing our C1 cash costs while maintaining our small-scale production from Iron Ridge. We're about to expand our production, and we're on a pathway to lower our C1 cash costs and build what we believe will be a sustainable high-volume iron ore business at a lower cost. But I've got to say, I am a fan of this graph and what it shows about what's happening in the steel industry globally. And we've just heard from a wonderful Western Australian story in WA1 and had an education about the importance of niobium and its rare earth characteristics. But also, intrinsically, in what Paul Savage was talking about, was that it is a derivative of the steel industry. And anyone here in the mining industry represents a derivative of the steel industry, and what we're seeing across global economies is summarised in that 30-year graph. Yes, we've got volatility, but we have long-term growth. There's a step change. In the recent past, analysts were talking about the collapse of the Chinese property industry and how it would directly relate to a collapse in the iron ore price. We've seen the property industry in China go through troubles, and it's deeply troubled at the moment. The production of steel is hanging around 1 billion tonnes a year. It's been reallocated across infrastructure and other factors. We will see lower iron ore prices, but we'll also see the graph continue in terms of what the opposite of what Kim Beazley described in rare earths is the stem of the glass. Iron ore is more like a fire hose. This is a massive business. At Fenix, we're producing a 64% lump product and a 63% fines product. They're highly sought after, they get a premium price, and we're convinced that the Midwest has the opportunity to produce a number of premium products. Kim Beazley also spoke of, he implored the brigade of miners here today to do more mining and more processing. How correct he is. The other thing that strikes me when I look at this graph is the first diggers that I ever came to was 2006, when my friend Andrew Forrest was speaking about his exploration company and development company called Fortescue Metals. And he spoke about the emerging middle class in China and people moving from bicycles to motor cars and buying DVD players. And he foretold what you see there in that great spike of iron ore and delivered an amazing company, Fortescue Metals Group, into that price line. In a much smaller sense, Fenix had the opportunity of delivering Iron Ridge into recent high prices, and we've used that to generate significant cash flow, create jobs, and build a platform. And in both cases, we've got the opportunity to build big sustainable businesses by this wonderful iron ore graph. But talking about history, let me go back a little bit further than 2006. Western Australia is the world's greatest mining province. Actually had the foresight in 1870 to appoint the first state-sponsored geologist in the Federation of Australia, pre-Federation, called Henry York Lyle Brown. And in 1871, he discovered iron ore in the World Ranges, which is where Fenix is currently mining. He was pretty excited about that. He was the first person to say that Western Australia would be built on its mineral wealth. Unfortunately for Henry York, he had an upstart state surveyor by the name of John Forrest, who, with his brother, ridiculed Henry York Lyle Brown, who then buggered off to South Australia and spent the rest of his life building their geological mineral resources and being a founding father of their mining industry. So the iron ore in the World Range stayed dormant. There was some sporadic mining in the 1920s and 1930s until this picture of pig iron Bob Menzies in the lead up to the Second World War. The Australian government, concerned of the export of iron products to potentially our enemies, as well as a view that we had very scarce resources and needed to hang on to them for our emerging country, banned the sale of iron ore. And it wasn't until 1960s when Lang Hancock and others lobbied the federal government, along with the state of Western Australia, to lift that ban. And the first iron ore shipment post the lifting of the embargo was from Geraldton, from Coolionuka, from 1966, where the Premier of the day entertained the good and the great at the fantastic, developed bulk commodity port of Geraldton. And there it is in all its glory. We're now 50 or 60 years later. We've seen Mount Gibson, through the development of the port of Geraldton, successfully ship more than 50 million tonnes of iron ore. And we're at the cusp of demonstrating that the Geraldton port is actually capable of a lot more. You can see Fenix's infrastructure here. We have sheds 13, 4 and 5. They have just under 500,000 tonnes of storage capacity. We're currently running at 4 million tonnes a year, which is 1.5 million tonnes roughly from Iron Ridge and 2.5 million tonnes of third-party product. If you go on the Midwest Port Authority website, you'll see that the government have invested $350 million in a project called PMAX. It's quite clear on that website that the current capacity of Geraldton Port is roughly 16 million tonnes of bulk commodity. Carrara, with their magnetite exports, are doing about 8. We're currently doing about 4. There's some grain of a couple of million tonnes and a few other odds and ends. And that's pretty much current production, but the post-PMAX capacity is estimated by the Midwest Port Authority to be somewhere between 30 and 40 million tonnes, and we're planning at Fenix to be a big component of that. Obviously, if you've got a port business, you've also got to have, usually in bulk commodity, a railway business. So in 1965, there was a Midwest rail network that delivered that Coolionuka ore to the beachside port of Geraldton. We don't have a railway yet, but we have a state-of-the-art logistics fleet. Iron Ridge uses about 28 quad road chains. They weigh 200 tonnes, 140 tonne payload, and they're currently running 500 kilometres on public roads. Let me show you what that looks like at Iron Ridge. Great part of the world to mine, sandwiched in the middle of the World Range, a 65% in situ ore body. It is actually extensive. There are similar ore bodies in the World Range, and we're about to start mining one of them, Beavan W11. This is very simple mining, 3-to-1 strip ratio. Macca have been our contractor here from the start. They also run the crushing and screening plant. It's a couple of diggers, half a dozen dump trucks, and a very, very clean operation run by Fenix's manager there, Scott Pileggi. The crushing and screening plant, very straightforward iron ore mining, produces lump and fines product. We've actually outperformed our lump, there it is. That's a 64%. We've hit a very consistent product spec. It's now getting recognition. We load that onto our quad road trains, very accurate weighbridge to the kilo across all of the axles on what is 112 tyres, and then that is a continuous operation, delivering our ore in 500 kilometres all the way to Geraldton. It's a very expandable network. The great thing about road trains as opposed to railways is you can send them anywhere. We have a state-of-the-art depot within our Newhall business at Nungaloo. We built this as part of the formation. We have access to the only side-tipping truck unloader at Geraldton Port. We own that. We own all the infrastructure that connects that truck unloader and the rail unloader to our sheds. You can see how big they are. Shed 5, you can fit 2 rugby fields in end on end, and they're high enough that Steve Larkin wouldn't be able to hit the roof with a bomb. And obviously that allows us to load Panamax boats. So we're currently loading around 60,000 tonnes and sending that not just to China, but also on shorter shipping routes to Panamax-friendly steel mills in a range of Southeast Asian locations. So what's next for Fenix? Iron Ridge, 1.3 to 1.4 million tonnes per annum, high-grade product. We're starting Shine. That's going to run at about 100,000 tonnes a month. Stage 1 is 2.8 million tonnes over 28 months. That's coming to you very, very shortly. It's a lower C1 cash cost. It's 200 kilometres closer to port. So we're going to deliver that for C1 less than $70. And we're going to mine it across that stage 1 at a 60% iron grade. And they're building a brand new mine. It's almost a carbon copy of the mine we've built at Iron Ridge. $25 million capital, the road's a bit longer, but effectively a very similar operation, and we're aiming to have all the approvals in place for that mine during current calendar year 2024 and start mining early 2025. So 1.3, 1.2, 1.5 million tonnes per annum for Beebyn. That gets you to 4 million tonnes. So in the next 6 months, our production is going to almost triple. And then beyond that, these dots represent projects in the Midwest that are currently doing feasibility studies. They're not just iron ore mines, they're silica sands mines, talc, garnet, spodumene, potash, vanadium, titanium, magnetite, manganese, you name it. Every single one of those projects, if they're lucky enough to follow Fenix and successfully raise capital, successfully deploy it, successfully execute, need to find their product away to Geraldton Port. They need to store it and then they load it onto a boat. We've already started helping those. We've signed a $70 million contract with Gold Valley, and we're also handling Kufi's iron ore at the port, and we're looking for more customers, expanding our mining business as well as expanding our logistics business. Our focus going forward, we're going to profit from mining. Stay tuned for our new mines. We're increasing our iron ore production, both in the short term as also looking longer term at the vast opportunities in that historic Midwest region. Sinosteel have 300 million tonnes in and around us in the World Range. The right to mine 10 million tonnes at Beebyn W11 is just the keyhole. We're looking for more third-party customers. We have the potential to differentiate ourselves with those infrastructure assets of the port, as well as a state-of-the-art low-cost haulage network, and looking for forward-facing metals. And we see enormous growth opportunities in iron ore and other commodities in the Midwest. I'm pleased to be here with some colleagues from Fenix at our booth. Gary Plowright, one of the original vendors and directors of Fenix from inception. Adrian Third, our commercial manager, and Miriam Sharp, and we'd love to talk more about Fenix with you. So come and say hello. Thanks very much.